we'll always ask for more. So,
I wonder if Brett Schaefer from the Heritage Foundation feels that Africa has the expertise to make the most of what America's giving to it. What would you say, Brett?
Well, I think this whole focus about a monetary amount for development of Africa production and technology in Africa is somewhat beside the point. When you take a look at the global trade arena for agricultural products, you see enormous amount of subsidies in the Western countries, in Japan, US, Europe, Japan. You see enormous amount of trade barriers within Africa itself for agricultural goods. Yeah. And when you take a look at a country just like Ghana, where the president is visiting, you have marketing boards for important cash crops like cocoa. And when you have an enormous amount of market distortions like this, and you have an enormous amount of disincentives to actually produce, and so that, I mean, constraints on making a profit from your production, it's not surprising that you have a lower level of production than would otherwise be the case. And so I think if you're going to truly address the agricultural production problem in Africa, you need to eliminate these market distortions. You need to allow farmers to produce and make a profit from what they produce. And you need to get government out of this sector of protecting certain areas of the economy in the agricultural area and leaving others to wither.
Okay, well, so that's your view from
this
Washington.
Whole issue of
That's your view from Washington, D.C. At the moment, we're going to get some messages from Shima, but I just want to quickly bring in Tabs in Johannesburg, because we first met you doing a World Have Your Say radio program. You're a student. Do you feel South Africa is producing the expertise amongst its young people to make the most of what the developed world is giving to your continent?
Well, I think that a lot of the Western world has supplied a lot of, some diversions into what is out there, what Africa cannot present for itself. And as much as these opportunities are still available, we are still seeing a lot of people leaving Africa. We're still seeing a lot of nurses, professionals that are needed in this country to remain here are going out because there's better money being promoted, there's better opportunities that I haven't seen personally myself, Roz. But there is definitely this outflux of careers that are much needed in this country and making it very difficult for our current market to retrain this brain, this
I can see Christabel in Washington, D.C. nodding her head and agreeing with you. And the issue of brain drain is one we've talked about on World Have You Say many times. We're now talking about whether Africa has too many expectations of what Barack Obama can do for the continent. Let's see what you're saying on the blog with Shima Khalil from the World Have Your Say team.
Ross, first on Twitter, Rohide tweets, I'm from Kenya. If in Africa, why does Obama not visit his roots first? And Dinka in Uganda saying, as an African, I think charity starts at home. So actually, President Obama should be addressing American problems. And Kai Grizz on Twitter says, Obama should do nothing for Africa. I have a question. What should Africa do for itself? Now, keep your comments coming. I am looking at the blog right here and your Twitter comments, and of course, your texts and emails.
Okay, well, we're going to take a phone call now. Let's go to Tom in Minneapolis, who joins us live on BBC World News. Hi, Tom. You've been listening to Africans from all over the continent talk about what they want from your president. Are you happy for him to meet these expectations?
Well, I think he's obligated to maintain current promises already made, but as to looking to the future, I see it's going to be very difficult because the way I see it, having spoken in depth here with a friend of mine who's from Sierra Leone, there is a general problem with the basic psyche of many Africans. The problem is only 80 to 100 years ago, these people many of them were hunter-gatherers. They had very little industry and they had some farming. Anything they needed was readily available, and that mentality is still in the cultural psyche of the Africans. They are a very
Tom,
generous
I have
people.
to interrupt you and tell you that as you're saying that, I've got 3 furrowed brows here in the World Have Your Say studio. Alice, what would you like to say to Tom?
Well, I agree with him in the sense that Africa is rich. Africa can rule the world, but Africans need to wake up and realize that
there is a problem with the African psyche then?
Yes, there is. We're sitting
Tony,
down.
you're also nodding. This is fascinating.
I agree with that. Yes, true. It's true.
I think you have to understand there's a big difference between a problem and something being different. You might not be the same as a person, but it doesn't mean you have a problem per se. So say there's a problem with the African psyche is wrong, in my view. So, yeah.
Okay, and I could tell in the background here on the screen that Gawain from Oxfam America had a wry smile on his face when Tom came on the phone from Minneapolis. Why were you smiling like that, Gawain? Do you recognize this accusation?
Well, I recognize the accusation. I just really disagree. In my travels in Africa and talking to partners of Oxfam with Africa, I see a lot of energy and enthusiasm among Africans to take control of their future. Yeah. And I think the message from Obama is that the United States wants to offer new money, and that's what he came to the G8 to do, to offer new money for agriculture. But the second part of his message, and part of his campaign message, was that we are the change that we're looking for, and we need to take responsibility. And in that way, the president is saying that he wants to support Africans taking charge of their own destiny.
That's fascinating. Just above you on the World Have Your Say screen, I can see Tabs in Johannesburg nodding ahead. Christabel from Sierra Leone, live from Washington, D.C. Do you think that Africans need to change their approach to work and to production and to the economy if they're to fix some of your problems?
Absolutely. And again, we go back to the brain drain. I think the Africans in Africa are limited as to the resources they have to do so. So that's why us Africans that have had the opportunity to be educated abroad and to be exposed to the West need to, if not go back, contribute in some way.
Let's just follow what you're saying. Sorry to interrupt